What's going on, y'all? This is your boy DMV Soldier Life. I'm here for my first video. In my first video, we're gonna talk about 25 Bravos, which I am currently. I'm an AIT right now, and if you didn't know, that's an information technology specialist. That is available to anybody, reserves, active duty, all that. So let's get to it. So 25 Bravo, that is a IT specialist, information technology specialist, and that is currently at Fort Eisenhower, which was known as Fort Gordon. And yeah, so we can first talk about classes. So 25 Bravo classes, they are 20 weeks. So the whole MOS is 20 weeks total. You'll be here for 20 weeks. So the classes are IT fundamentals. You have software, which covers account management, configure a workstation, and intro to cybersecurity. You have network fundamentals and essentials. You have ArmyNet, and then you have Capstone. So I'll say all those together, it brings in the 20 weeks. But that doesn't count the weeks that you might have before you actually start your class. So when you get here, you'll in process. They'll get you into your rooms, and then you'll most likely, depending on if you're active or not, you'll wait maybe 2 weeks. I was lucky and I got in that next week that I was here, but I've seen some people wait up to a month to get into classes, depending on how big your group was that you came in with, and then the availability of sergeants and DOD civilians on whether you start class immediately or if you have to wait. So I'll say that from doing classes, you'll have all your classes that you go through. You'll have different instructors for each of them in the schoolhouse. So with those classes, you'll go through the class. Usually, I know for IT fundamentals, that's a 3-week class, and then you'll have tests throughout. So you'll have study material, all that stuff, and then you'll test throughout the course. And you have to pass all those tests with at least 70%. So if you pass with at least a 70%, you move on. If you don't, they give you the chance to retake. So with retakes, you have that day that you test, and then the next morning you'll retest, and you'll have what they call early school. So early school is when you basically wake up earlier than everybody, and while everybody's doing PT, you're going to the schoolhouse to retest or do that extra studying that you need to do to be able to pass your test. And so you'll do that. So you won't go to PT and all that. You'll just be at the schoolhouse testing or studying with your sergeant or your teacher. And so with that, once you test that first time and you take that retest, if you pass on that retest, you're good to go. There's nothing that will hold you back. But if you don't pass on that retest, then they'll have to recycle you. So basically what recycling is when you get recycled, you have to basically go back to your day one where you don't have a class anymore. So you'll be able to get into another class whenever they have space. So basically like you're going in the back of the queue. So you'll be behind all the people that got there that still don't have classes, and then you'll be able to get into one, It shouldn't be too long. They're probably maybe like a week or two, something like that. Usually don't wait super long. But yeah, so you'll be basically like you're going back into the queue to get into another class. And with the retakes, the way they do it is you have 3 times to retest in the same class. So like, let's say you do IT fundamentals, you don't pass either one of those times, that'll be once. Say you go back through it, you do it again, you don't pass either one of those, That'll be 2, and then you go back through that same class, and then you don't test right again. That'll be 3, and then they'll be trying to reclass you. So when you get reclassed, you'll have to go to a board and talk to a bunch of people, a bunch of higher ranks, and basically plead your case to why you feel like you should still be a 25 Bravo, or why they should keep you, basically. And then off that, they'll choose to whether they reclass you and send you, and basically at that point you're going to anything that the Army needs, basically. Like, so you could be a cook, you could be a infantry, you could be armor, you could be a photographer. Like, you could be anything. Whatever they need, you'll basically just have to fill in as. So definitely advise, you gotta study and all that, because no one wants to do that. And then throughout the whole course, they give you 5 times to fail. So let's say you get through IT fundamentals without anything, then you go into software. In software, you have 3 different tests and 3 different hands-on. Well, 3 different tests and then 2 hands-on, because Intro to Cyber doesn't have a hands-on. So for account management, you have a hands-on and a written test. For Configure a Workstation, you have a hands-on and a written test. And then for Intro to Cybersecurity, you just have a written test, And so let's say you fail account management, you pass Configure a Workstation, you fail cyber, that'll be 2 fails for you. So throughout the whole rest of the time you're here for that 20 weeks, you can only fail 3 more things. If you fail 3 more things, you're gonna get reclassed. So it's honestly a lot. They give you a lot of chances, especially if you're doing, what you need to do. You have a lot of chances to really get things right. Now let's go to what the school day is like. So you'll be waking up, I would say, around 3:30, 3:45, to go to PT. At least for me. You'll be waking up around then to go to PT in the morning. PT will last until about 6 o'clock, I'll say. And then from there, you might have the choice to go to breakfast chow, or go in the building to take showers, and get ready for the school day. And then usually you'll have to be formed up by 7:15, around that time, to get on the buses, so the buses can take you to the schoolhouse. So once you get all that done, you gotta be your OCPs, which is your uniform. You'll form up with everybody, you'll get in formation, and then you'll start getting on the buses. The buses will take you to the schoolhouse. Once you get to the schoolhouse, you'll go inside and form up at your classes, get into your classes, and then around like 8 o'clock, around there, you'll start to your instructor or your sergeant, they'll start their class. Now, say in class, pretty lenient. For the most part, you're allowed to have food, drinks, as long as you're not spilling anything, you're cleaning up after yourself. And then with that, you have your breaks. So your breaks are usually, you have one almost every hour at least. And they have a break room where you're allowed to, eat your snacks, talk to your peers, the rest of your soldiers. And yeah, so one thing you're not allowed to do, you're not allowed to sleep in the break room. You're not allowed to have headphones in the break room. That's really the rules. You're really not allowed to bring headphones to the schoolhouse at all. They allow you to have your phones, but you put them up while you're in class, including smartwatches. They make you put them up as well. And then they do have vending machines. They have drinks, energy drinks, and food, snacks. So you can stay awake, stuff like that. Some of the instructors do have coffee machines, but you have to provide the pods, or the cups, the sugar, sweetener, all that stuff. So you do have the opportunity to bring stuff like that, depending on who your instructor is, so you can stay awake in class, so you're not falling asleep. Because that's the one thing that they don't like, is when you're falling asleep in class. That's one thing that will definitely, get you in trouble. Now I say there are instructors walking around. Don't think you're gonna get away from your drill sergeants, because they definitely are in the schoolhouse a lot. They walk around and make sure things are going straight, and all that. So once you get through your school day, about halfway through the school day, you'll go to lunch, and that's around like 11:30, I'd say 11:30. You'll march to the DFAT to go get chow. Once you get to DFAT, they'll march you inside. You'll get your food, and then you'll form back up to be back at the schoolhouse by at least 1300. Then once you get back to the schoolhouse, you go inside, and then you're learning again until about 1600, and that's when you start your duties for the day. So you have to clean the schoolhouse. You could be mopping, sweeping, taking out trash, doing all that stuff. And every class has a different duty for the school day. So you'll do that. You'll have your class leads, your PG, your APG, and they'll make sure everything gets done within that. And then you'll be forming up back outside around that time. And then for the most part, once you get back outside, you'll be formed up to be able to get on the bus. So you'll have to form back up, then you'll get on the buses. Before that, if you don't have to salute the flag, if you salute the flag, you got to do that first, and then you'll get on the bus, and then they'll take you back to the company. Once they take you back to the company, you're free at that point. So that's your free time. That is your time to do what you need to do, whether you need to go off base, you need to go get something from the PX or the troop store, whether you want to go eat chow, eat something on base. That is your time. And we'll talk more about the phases and what you can and can't do with each phase and phasing up. So yeah, once you do that, you'll be able to do all to go eat, do what you need to do, go to a room, study, play games, hang out with your friends. I mean, at that point, you're basically free unless your drill sergeant has y'all doing something else. I'll say that your first week there is gonna be a lot of briefs, a lot of sitting around, waiting for people to talk to you, your command team, your drill sergeants. You got to go through dental, all that stuff. So you'll have a lot of different stuff that you'll have to do that first week and a half. But then after that, you'll be able to do kind of do what you want after the school day. So I'll say once you get back and all that stuff, you have what you call your phases. So your phases are gonna be a 5, a 6, and a 6+. You start off as a 5, and you'll be able to do minimal things for real. You're really confined to the base, and around the barracks and all that. So with that, you'll be able to run around where your base is or run around where your barracks is. You'll be able to go to the troop store. You won't be able to go to the PX by yourself, but if you have a 6+ or somebody that's a 6+, they'll be able to take you. The battle buddy system still lives on here. You have to be in pairs of 2s with the same gender. So that's definitely a big thing. They always look for that. Because if they catch you walking around with yourself or improper battle buddy system, they will say something to you. And as a phase 5, you always have to wear your OCPs, which is the uniform, or your PT uniforms if you're doing something athletic or outside running around doing stuff. And so once you're a phase 5, you'll be able to phase up at that point. Once you're there for, I think it's 3 to 4 weeks, I think, you'll be able to phase up to a 6. And what the phase up entails is, knowing your soldier's creed, knowing all that stuff. You got to know certain things, certain rules, regulations that they have set, and you'll be able to, prove that to your drill sergeant. They'll have you go through a whole bunch of stuff and make sure you know that information. Basically, it's a lot of stuff you learn from basic, but it's gonna be more stuff that they'll teach you about your policy letter, all that stuff. And as a 6, you have a little bit more freedom. You're able to wear your own civilian clothes. You're able to go on the base more. You're able to go with your battle buddy to the PX. You're able to go eat Domino's, order food, order Panda Express. You have Domino's, Panda Express, Subway, Taco Bell, Popeyes, Charlie Subs, and a few other places on base. You'll be able to eat at all those places. You'll be able to order Domino's, stuff like that. Once you've been a phase 6, at like week 11, week 12, you'll be able to phase up to 6+, and that's when you can go off base. You can have your weekend passes, your day passes, where you don't have to come back for formations. So you'll let's get into formations. You'll have your formations in the morning, and then throughout the day, on weekends, and then you have your final formation at night, or you're scanning. So on the weekends, you're free to do whatever you want, as soon as your first formation is done. So usually your first formation on the weekends, on Saturdays, is usually the 8:30, or it changes per the company. And then after that, they'll let you know when your next hit time or formation is for phase 5. For phase 6, usually they don't have another formation until that night, which is 2100 for Saturdays and then 2000 for Sundays. So, and then on Fridays it's 2100 as well. So usually you're off the hook. You're able to do what you want. Go play basketball, go play volleyball, play soccer. They have a tire pit where you can play football. You can lift weights. You can go run. They have a gym, so you can do. There's a lot of stuff. They have you have your day rooms. They have pool tables. If you want to listen to music, buy a speaker, you can chill under the awning. Talk to your friends, and all that stuff. So it's not too bad. It's definitely a lot better than basic. They give you a lot more freedom, a lot more time to be to yourself. Also, you can have study groups. There's a lot you can do. You won't necessarily be able to have any cars on here. You'll have to get that approved by the commander. But for the most part, your weekends are pretty chill. You don't do too much. They have church services on Sundays. I'm not 100% sure exactly where and the times for church services, but I know that they do have them. I'm trying to think of what else. You have, your drill sergeants will be there at the CQ desk. Oh, you do have fire guard. So you'll have 2 people per floor for fire guard. Fire guard lasts an hour. So when you have that, you'll just sit there for an hour, do your duty, like mop, clean the laundry room, stuff like that. And then you'll be able to go to sleep after that. So usually they have enough people to where you'll have fire guard 1 week, and then you might be off next week, and then you'll have it the next week after that. Just depends on how many people you have in your platoon. Because if you have a lot, it'll just keep going over basically in the same order, and then adding people as they come into your platoon. For laundry, you have one big laundry room with a lot of machines. Now, to be aware, a lot of stuff is broken. I will say. They put in work orders, but work orders don't get fulfilled. So a lot of stuff is broken. You just have to know which ones are good machines and which ones aren't. I would advise looking after your stuff. I wouldn't advise leaving your laundry in there and then coming back into it. A lot of stuff gets stolen. I'm not gonna lie to you. A lot of stuff does get stolen. I wouldn't be able to tell you why, but it definitely does happen. So when you're washing your stuff, although the washers do lock. The washers lock when they do wash, so you won't have to sit there. I would just set a timer for when they do finish, because then they unlock, and then people have access to your stuff, are able to move it if they want to put their stuff in. And the dryers don't lock, so I would definitely take caution with that when you're drying your stuff. Whenever you finish with all that. So see, I covered laundry room, schoolhouse, and all that stuff. Let me see what else. So I say definitely, you need your cat card for everything. Definitely hold that. Phase badge, don't lose that. PT in the mornings. Yeah, PT in the morning around 0. You're really formed up by 04, around there. You do your PRT, you get ready for PT, and then you're off running. For me, we do run days is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we usually have our days where we do like 30-60s, which are just running at intervals, or doing like stuff like bear crawls, like stations basically. And I'll say our runs are usually 3 to 4 miles. It's nothing too crazy. We're usually going at a 10-minute pace, 9-minute on a good day. So it's not too bad. It's actually, you should be able to definitely keep up. And try to make it easy so everybody, so they build up for it basically. So as you keep running, you should definitely get better with it. Yeah, so it's not entirely hard. It usually ends around 0600, and that's when you can go to chow and all that stuff. Sit call, I would say sit call works a little bit like early school, so you have to wake up earlier, and then you'll march in the formation to sit call, where you can get your your notes, your shaving profiles, where you can go for our injuries, dental stuff. They have a dental place on here on the installation. When you're doing that, you'll be in your PTs. You won't be able to do you won't do PT, but you'll be in your PTs when you go. And then if you come back in time, you'll just be able to go back into the building and start getting ready. Or if you go over the time, you'll just come back to the building, get ready, and then go straight to the schoolhouse. There's no sick call on weekends. And let me think. They have a lot of stuff going on base. A lot of events, kickball games, soccer. Just stuff to kind of keep you in the loop, keep you having fun. They do grill outside, so they have a grill where they burgers, hot dogs, stuff like that. They try to keep you entertained, having fun, having a good time. I definitely say it's not. AIT is not hard. You just have to apply yourself. It just comes down to being disciplined and studying, doing what you need to do for real. Like it's not hard. Yeah, even if you don't have any IT experience, they teach it to you like you don't have IT experience. Because some people do come in with IT experience, have jobs, stuff like that. Like me, I went to college for computer science, so I had a little experience in doing IT. but they teach it to everyone like they've never done IT before. And you're learning from sergeants that went through 25 Bravo. So it's not like you're just learning from anybody. You're learning from sergeants and instructors that did this for 10, 15, 20 years. I mean, it just depends on who you get as an instructor. Some of them are retired, and then some of them are active and still doing the job currently. So it's definitely a great MOS, the best in my opinion, you know. But it's definitely a great MOS, something you can learn from. You'll be able to acquire certifications like A+, Network+, CIS, but like, you know, all those certifications throughout while you're here. You'll get your secret security clearance. You can't be a 25 Bravo without a secret security clearance, so you'll get that through them. And then you'll figure out where you're going if you don't already know when you're here before you you know, go off your separate ways. And yeah, I mean that's really the breakdown of the 25 Bravo series and AIT. It's honestly very, you know, it's a cool place. I love Fort Eisenhower. It's in Augusta, Georgia, if you didn't know. And yeah, so if you have any more questions, drop them down below. Comment, like, subscribe. It's the first video of many. Definitely hit that subscribe button for me. If you want to see more videos like this about a day in the life of a 25 series, what PT's like, you know, just more videos, I need y'all to subscribe. Hit that button. All right, I'm out of here, y'all. Peace.